Tarifa was incredible. I credit my career to that moment because I wouldn't be here in front of you without that song. I think what the two sisters have, Sonam and Rhea, is they have a really great knack for finding talent. The most important thing for a woman especially is to be financially independent, even after you're married. That I'm not a trained musician. So why am I here and why am I competing with people who've trained since they were 2-3 years old and have this classical background? Who am I? Rejection is part and parcel of both industries, even more ruthless in the music industry, because in playback singing, we get replaced all the time. We get replaced one day before the song comes out by somebody else. In the acting industry, in real life, how people target women in this industry with Bhumi and Ananya and everybody, which I think is unfair. It's no secret that women have it very hard in terms of industry expectations, societal expectations, whether it's shedding lots of weight or doing surgeries or fillers or Botox, because unfortunately, women are burdened with having to look and feel young forever. I think we're quickly approaching the generation of fake it till you make it. And it's scary. The way that we were able to give Coldplay the biggest concert they've had in their career, and they're 25 years in to being musicians, and the biggest show they've ever had in their career was in India. If we can pull off the biggest concert for the biggest band on earth, then sky's the limit. India's in the right space. We're getting there.
Does sexism exist? Hello and welcome to Bollywood Bubble. I am Akriti Bhagla and today I'm with an incredible singer turned actor now, Lisa Mishra. Hello and welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah. And I want to first of all ask you, are you out of the royal sets now or is the royal zone still with you?
You guys have put me in a room full of royal things. There's candelabras and nice settings and big lamps and things. So it feels very royal. And the ceiling height is 50 feet. So it feels very like a palace.
But if I today ask you, what has been that fond memory that you still cherish about those sets?
Oh, I think it's all the time we spent together as a cast because we shot this series, the bulk of it was shot in Jaipur in one long stretch of nearly 40 days. So everybody just bonded so much during that time. We were always spending time together. Me and Bhumi became best friends from shooting this series. And then the rest of the cast, all of us would eat together every day. We would sit around and gossip together. We would work out together. So I think we miss that time.
Yeah. But even when you posted about your character a few days back, you defined her as a strong, independent woman, Nicky-fying, if I say so. How much of it is in Liza? Do you resonate with those?
100%. I think Nikki and I are the same person. I think all of the best qualities of her, I definitely resonate with she is self-made, she's independent, she's a boss, and she's very decisive. She's never unsure of herself, which I love.
Yeah. And
she says what she wants and what she means. I think the big difference between us is I'm a little bit lighter than her. Yeah. She's a little more serious. I'm definitely always joking.
Yeah. But when you got to know that your character has a certain shade and twist, which I don't want to mention because I want to leave it to the audience to experience. But when such a brief was given to you, did any sort of apprehension cross your mind?
Not at all. I think everybody falls in love the same way.
Yeah.
So it wasn't very different for me playing, Harleen opposite Veer in Call Me Bae versus doing this series. It felt the same. I think as long as you keep that love and that feeling of romance authentic, doesn't matter who it's opposite.
Yeah. But now you spoke about bonding with Bhumi. I'm sure you must have equally enjoyed working with Zeenat Aman also.
Oh my God,
the talk that has been going on. I want to know what are some of the qualities about the two ladies alongside you admire.
Yeah, I think one great thing they both have in common is they're really modern and confident women.
Yeah.
And they've both, in different generations, played these roles every time.
Yeah.
Every one of their choices has always been very forward-thinking and very modern. So it's incredible. It's like seeing a mini Zeenat Aman in Bhumi, which is, it's amazing to be around women that are so empowered and so headstrong and accomplished. And I think my fondest memories of Zeenat ji were just to, see how intelligent she is. She's so smart. And she's so cultured and worldly. She knows everything.
Yeah.
So she's able to have a conversation about literally any topic because she has so much knowledge.
True. But also, when it I also saw a post where her eyes were injured and all. During the shoot also, I think her health was disturbed, but still she came to the
She
shoot,
came every
right?
day. She was always on time. No matter how many hours we were shooting, and at her age, she never complained. She was always, ready to work. And she still treats, I feel, every day like it's her first day on set. She's very respectful of people's time and effort.
Yeah, but do you also stalk her Instagram and read the anecdotes she
100%.
shares?
Just like all of us in India and around the world, I think she has such a way with words. And I think her memories, they bring back this, history of cinema that we've forgotten.
Yeah.
And especially in our generation, because she is before our time.
Yeah.
So, you have this exposure for our generation, and then our parents are reliving this nostalgically, which is really lovely.
Exactly. But Liza, you made your debut with Say a Call Me, where you had a successful music career before that, right? Then why this plunge? Or was it always in your mind to be into acting?
I think I'm just a filmy kid. And we grew up in a house full of Bollywood, and that was in the music and in the films. And as an NRI, we worship Shah Rukh Khan. And we love Dharma and Yash Raj and these romances and big love stories.
Yeah.
So it was, I think, somewhere in my blood that I didn't realize in the future I would be doing this. But it feels crazy that, my first production I was part of was in Dharma. And the second production is a big romance. Yeah. So I think somewhere, life was going to lead me in this path, because these films were always on in our house. The songs were always being played. So whether it was in music or whether it was in front of a screen, it kind of all is part of the same world.
Yeah. But when Tarifa got you fame, what was that journey? How did that opportunity pan out for you?
Tarifa was incredible. I credit my career to that moment, because I wouldn't be here in front of you without that song. Yeah. I think what the two sisters have, Sonam and Rhea, is they have a really great knack for finding talent. And they were just looking through the internet for hashtags of Veere Di Wedding. They found this video and made sure that everybody saw it and fell in love with that song and fell in love with me. So I had such an incredible and once in a lifetime introduction to this very difficult industry to break through. Although it wasn't an overnight success. I'd been making videos for 11 years. Yeah. But the way that it happened goes without saying. I have a lot of privilege that I started with them. So it gave me access and exposure that I think people might spend their whole lifetime trying to chase. So hats off to them. I'm definitely here because of that moment.
But even today, you watch that video,
I feel like a kid.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know anything. And I of course, I was raised in a house full of these Bollywood films and songs. But even then, I didn't think I would have a professional singing career in India. I didn't think I would ever become an actor in India. Yeah. So looking back in that moment, I see that video and I see this girl who thought, and I went back, by the way. I came here, shot this music video, and I went back to my job as a data analyst in Chicago. Ooh. So that person in that Tareefan video with Kareena Kapoor and Sonam Kapoor and the rest of the cast had no idea what was coming. Because the day after that, I was on a plane back to my normal life. And what it became, I could never have predicted.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Liza, at this stage, how important it is, you think, is to be financially independent?
100% the most important thing for a woman especially is to be financially independent, even after you're married. I think the sense of security that gives you and the sense of agency over your own life and choices, it's just very important for girls to have that. True. And I think our generation will be the first generation that, it's standardized. That of course, it's expected for girls to have financial stability, financial agency. We don't have to be dependent anymore. We can have jobs, we can leave the house, we can be educated. So I think number one most important thing, especially for women, is that financial stability and independence.
Exactly. But what were other judgments you encountered, except from the language? What were other judgments?
I think the judgments were pretty fair, which is that I'm not a trained musician. Yeah. So why am I here and why am I competing with people who've trained since they were 2-3 years old and have this classical background? Who am I to come into this space and say that now I want to be a singer? So that was definitely there. There was an expectation that I couldn't pull it off because of that. Same thing with my acting. I think a lot of people, even now, are surprised that no one has dubbed my voice in Royals. Obviously, it's me speaking the whole time, even the English portions with an Indian accent. And there's always a bias about that, you know, oh, can she do it? And it's like, well, that's my job. I have to do it.
Exactly.
So I wouldn't go into a desk job in data analysis with a resume that says I can do something and then I show up on the job and I can't.
True.
So I have to be ready and I have to give my best every time.
Exactly. Liza, have you become headstrong to deal with rejections now? And what were some of the weirdest reasons you have heard that, okay, maybe you didn't get the part?
I think definitely, rejection is part and parcel of both industries. Even more ruthless in the music industry because you can be replaced without people realizing because your face is not there. So in playback singing, we get replaced all the time. We get replaced one day before the song comes out by somebody else. So, you might have, it's happened to me so many times. I've been locked as the final dubbed artist, and when the song releases, I'm like, oh, our song is out. And then I realize I'm not the one singing it. So that rejection you face constantly as a Bollywood singer, which is why I started making a lot of my own music, because then no one can replace me if I've composed and written the song. And I think rejection in acting. See, the director and the writer have a vision of who they're casting, and they have an idea of what that person sounds like, looks like, walks like. And a lot of times people will get rejected basis not fitting that profile. And that's fine. You just have to toughen up a bit because it doesn't mean you're not good. It just means you're not right for this part. So maybe it's that, if I have to play Mary Kom, I have to put on some muscle. And if I walked into an audition today for that, I wouldn't get it because they wouldn't be able to look at me and say that she can pull it off. So it's fine. I think rejection in acting is expected because it's not your work. It's somebody else's, and it's somebody else's vision. You're just there to do the job.
Exactly. Liza, do you agree to the fact, like even in Royals, at one point I felt where Bhumi's character, in a room full of men, she's not heard enough. Like she needs a man to convey her point, right?
Yeah, she has that breakdown scene with Ishan where she's saying like, nobody's here, everybody's abandoned me.
Exactly. Just because she's a female, I feel she was targeted a bit more. Do you feel in music industry all the more together? I want to know this perspective.
Absolutely.
Does sexism exist?
Totally, and you're seeing it, obviously in the acting industry, in real life, how people target women in this industry with Bhumi and Ananya and everybody, which I think is unfair because their work speaks for itself. And in the music industry, 100%, I think it's very easy to look at women in the industry and downplay our musical ability. And that comes from the history of doing playback singing. I think it's expected that women are just singers. So we don't credit enough how much even just a singer brings into the song because you have just given us a set of notes, but what I do with those notes and in my own way makes me a composer. And then on top of that, I think women are definitely changing the industry by actually becoming full-on composers, lyricists, instrumentalists, producers. So you're not heard because people don't have high expectations of you. They just don't think you can do it. And we're starting slowly now to prove them wrong.
But after being around women like say a Bhumi or an Ananya, obviously you have seen the kind of criticism also that have come their way in their careers, right? Have you ever discussed that with them? And
of course.
As a girl, when you see your social media, no doubt you are getting
I get that too,
how do you deal with that?
You have to realize that hate begets hate, and people love bandwagoning on hate. And
totally agree.
It's so typical of the internet to go after women and to, come with pitchforks and say like, she's terrible and this is the worst. And we don't have that with men nearly at all the same degree, which is, it's so disappointing. And I think we have candid conversations, Bhumi and I, about this because I think the biggest heartbreak is not when men do it, it's when women do it to each other. We see content creators and people commenting on pictures of other women saying the most horrible things. And it's like, when the entire world's already against you, at least we should support each other. And it's just heartbreaking to see that women turn our backs on each other. Hey, maybe you didn't like a performance or how somebody dressed, but do you have to tell the internet that?
Yeah.
Do you have to go and put out every negative opinion that's possible? Because we're going to get it from men anyways. So let's not make it harder for each other. At the very least, we should know when to keep our mouth shut, and we should know when to stand up and support each other.
Exactly. But in the show now, we see that every character, I would say, be it a Nikki also, everyone is just putting a facade because they have to present a certain kind of image, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel that do exist in the world we are living right now, in the real world also, not only the real world, but in real world also?
I think so, definitely. I think it's much easier to hide in this generation than it's ever been before, because you have filters and you have AI and you can change the way you look, the way you talk, whatever. And it becomes very difficult for people to see like the real person after some time. And I think it's gonna get worse. I have a bad feeling we're gonna get further and further away from reality.
Exactly.
I think we're quickly approaching the generation of like fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And it's scary because you don't know behind all the filters and the AI, and somebody else has written the caption for you. The picture is not even your face anymore. It is definitely going to be changing in that direction, which is so sad because I think it'll mostly affect little kids.
Yeah.
Because they won't understand what's real and what's not real.
Yeah.
And it's very damaging at that age to think like people look like this in real life, because we don't look like this. This is fake. And even when I don't use filters, I have makeup on. I don't look like this when I wake up. So I think we have to like raise this next generation with that sensitivity that everything you see is not real.
Exactly.
And definitely there's facades, and definitely everybody puts on a show for the public. And now that's reached not just actors and famous people, everybody's doing it.
Lisa, coming to this point, do you feel, have you ever been pushed at the edge to maybe live up to a certain kind of beauty standards that pertains in the industry?
Totally. I think it's no secret that women have it very hard in terms of industry expectations, societal expectations, whether it's shedding lots of weight or doing surgeries or fillers or Botox, because unfortunately, women are burdened with having to look and feel young forever. But we're finally seeing people owning their age. And we're finally seeing work that reflects the age, which is lovely. So now I think heavy credit to OTT for making it so that you're casting people who are 65 and looking 65. Who are 45 looking 45. But the younger generation has it definitely very, very tough. Their beauty standards are incredibly unrealistic, and especially also for the men, because it takes a lot for these people to just always have six-pack abs, not eat anything. On the days of shoot, they can't have water because it's going to bloat them. They have to survive on coffee. It's really, really tough. I think it's an ugly truth that we have to, work on getting past. We have to start allowing people to look human and eat like humans and sleep like humans and drink water.
Exactly. But having been in music industry, say from a young age, I would say you have seen the digital side as well and all. How do you see the shift in scenario when it comes to Indian music being perceived outside?
I think we're globalizing fast. I'm excited to see music outside of Punjabi also spreading, because I think that's next. I think we're going to see South Indian music becoming global. We're going to see Hindi becoming global. I think the Punjabi community is just really excellent at supporting their own people. So they make sure that everyone in the world is listening to these songs. And I think it's our duty as the rest of India to do that with our communities. So that, a Telugu song can be in the charts and maybe a Marathi song can be in the charts, but we have to be supporting everybody to that level that Punjabis do. And then I'm sure India will take over every chart. Guys, there's 1.5 billion of us. We should be able to do it.
But what is your take on this overall remake culture and the use of autotune that's usually happening nowadays?
I would love it if we went back to some more organic music making. I think that's my goal even for this year, is going back to real instruments, as little autotune as possible, and treating autotune as a tool that helps you clean up vocals, but not to imitate human sound. I think I want people to start singing again. And remakes, I feel like if you do it in a nice, classy way, I think they're great, because remakes are not new. All over the world, they're called samples. We call them remakes here. So people have sampled music forever. All of Bad Bunny's music is remakes.
Exactly.
So it's not just us, everyone is doing it. You just have to know how to do it and with taste.
Lisa, have you been a fan of this concert culture?
Love concerts. I've grown up on concerts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how are they different in India than it is in the West?
I think in India, it's the population that drives the experience.
Yeah.
And we have to get better at learning the entire catalog of an artist's work. I think in the rest of the world, when you go to an Ed Sheeran concert or Beyonce concert, they know every single song that this person has ever made, even if it's not a hit.
Yeah.
So I would love to see when people attend my show or Jonita's show or somebody else, any artist, that they know beyond just, Jhumka and Tarifa.
Exactly.
I would encourage us to get, into diving into the artist's entire catalog of work. I think that's what's separating us from the rest of the world. And that's the only way we can have big fan cultures and feel like it's one huge party every time there's a concert.
Exactly.
So I would love to see us supporting musicians beyond just the hit songs.
Exactly. There was this narrative few months back. I think even Diljit commented that there's this lack of proper infrastructure when it comes to conducting concerts.
Yeah.
You have been a part of some concerts in India as well, right? Did you feel that at any point?
No,
that we
I think
lacked
we're
it?
changing that. I think the way that we were able to give Coldplay the biggest concert they've had in their career, they're 25 years in to being musicians.
Recently.
And the biggest show they've ever had in their career was in India. It's 135,000 people at Modi Stadium. It was really well done. People entered and exited perfectly. The experience was amazing. The cleanliness was there. The food was there. Everything was taken care of. I think it's a matter of we're learning now, and it's only going to get better. If we can pull off the biggest concert for the biggest band on earth, then sky's the limit. India's in the right space. We're getting there.
But if any artist or any Bollywood actor you would like to give your voice for, male, female, anything, anyone,
Sure.
who are there? Who is on your wish list as of now?
Deepika, for sure. I would love to sing something in one of her films, without a doubt. Alia Bhatt, for sure. I would love to sing. I've been lucky that I've done more than one thing with Ananya, who I just adore. I think we've done 3 projects together, so I'm very happy.
3?
Yeah, we've done plenty of work together. And I think it's a nice fit because it's like a young voice and it's fun for me to do that. But I think Deepika and Alia I would love.
Yeah, and actors, like I've seen you fangirling over Shah Rukh Khan.
Guys, it's unhealthy. My love of Shah Rukh is very I've met everybody in this industry except him. And maybe that's God telling me, bas behan thoda zyada ho raha hai. Calm down. I think God is separating us and saying, I don't think she should be around Shah Rukh. It's not healthy. But yeah, I love that man so much. I don't know how I would react if I ever met him. I'd probably faint.
But we have seen how Nikki is in love, right, in Royals. How is Liza when she's a person in love?
I'm very different from Nikki in love.
Yeah.
I'm much shyer and less expressive about how I feel. I think I keep my emotions very close to my heart. And Nikki is very on the face. Like, I feel this way. Why can't we do this? I think this is the next step. I'm a little more like shy about my emotions when I fall in love.
Exactly. But are you also waiting for, say, the Royals season 2? I think everybody has been asking you that question.
Everyone in my DMs is asking me for spoilers for season 2. And I was like, guys, give us a chance to write season 2. We have to still do that. We haven't announced season 2 yet. But looking at the global response, I hope that Netflix greenlights a season 2 for us. I would love to do another one. I think there's so many unanswered questions at this finale. So we've given quite a few cliffhangers. I would love to explain that. Exactly. Ideally, creators, Netflix, with a season 2.
And now when it comes to Call Me Babe, right, which is already announced. How are you looking forward to that?
I'm just so happy to be back on set with everyone soon. And, we're starting to film. By end of this year, we should be filming season 2. And that show was the smoothest, most fun cast to be around because we're all the same age.
True.
And it was just musty every day. Everyone was it was just like a group of friends meeting. And it felt like summer camp because then we had to leave and then we were all sad. And then we did the promotions together and we were all very happy. Yeah. So it's always like this, you know, we get very low when we're not in touch, but we have a group chat with all of the actors and Colin Takuna, who's our director, and it's always active. The group chat is always active.
Yeah. Lisa, to wrap this up, you know, if I ask about your future plans, right? What have you envisioned? Like, what kind of role are you looking? What kind of films are you looking forward to now work in?
I would love to do something international because I don't know if you guys noticed from my accent. I would like to do something that explores this side of me as well. I think that's many films and series down the line. But my big focus right now is learning. I want to spend time learning, improving my skills as an actor. I'm very lucky that the response to my acting has been strong with both the series. But now, you know, more screen time, bigger roles and bigger challenges. Should they come, I would be very excited to take them on.
Yeah, and even we are looking forward to see more shades of you.
Yeah, you guys never know. Maybe the next time I'm a villain. Who says Nikki isn't a villain in season 2?
You never know. So you're dropping a hint about season 2 now.
That's right, guys. I'm going to start giving you guys
spoilers as well.
Spoilers that have, Nikki's an assassin.
But really, thank you so much, Liza, and loved your work in Royals.
Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. We're very grateful for everyone who's tuned in and given us so much love and support. Keep watching. Make us #1 in the world, guys. We're #3 right now.
Right now, yeah. And congratulations on that. And really, thank you for this.
Thank you so much for your time. It's been lovely. Hi, this is Lisa Mishra, and you're watching me on Bollywood Bubble.